Okay, let's jump right into a future that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but it might be closer than any of us think. Imagine a world where every single one of us has an AI integrated directly into our brain. We're going to explore the absolutely incredible promise and the terrifying peril of what could be humanity's next giant leap. So let's start with the big thought experiment. What would our world really look like if all 8 billion of us had a seamless, powerful AI just living in our thoughts? I'm talking no phones, no screens, just a direct link. How would that change, well, literally everything? Now, before you write this off as just some wild fantasy, you have to understand that the foundations for this exact future, they're being laid as we speak. This isn't just fiction anymore. The science is already happening. I mean, we're already seeing the very first steps of this mind-machine merger. You've got pioneers like Neuralink and Kernel who are right on the front lines, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with neural interfaces every single day. And the speed of progress here is just staggering. Back in 2017, it was a huge deal when a clinical trial allowed a person with paralysis to control a tablet with their thoughts. Fast forward to 2023, and suddenly we have tiny implants decoding even more subtle brain signals. When you see that kind of acceleration, a future with a universal implant, well, it starts to feel a lot more plausible, doesn't it? All right, so let's imagine for a second that this tech gets perfected, it's safe, and it's available to everyone. What would that utopian dream actually look like? What kind of incredible benefits could we unlock in a world without our current limits? The promise here, it isn't just about making life more convenient. We're talking about a fundamental upgrade to the human experience itself, giving us abilities that feel almost infinite, all residing right inside our own minds. The potential upsides are, well, they're almost hard to wrap your head around. Forget Googling a fact, you just know it instantly. Can't find your keys? That's a thing of the past with a perfect, flawless memory. Language barriers would completely dissolve, letting us communicate thought to thought. Your implant could even act as a 24/7 health monitor and maybe even augment your senses to see the world in ways we can't even imagine. On paper, it really does seem like this tech could solve so many of our biggest problems. It all reads like a dream. But, with any powerful dream, there's always the chance it could turn into an absolute nightmare. Because for every one of those utopian promises, there is an equally powerful and equally terrifying dystopian danger. And this is where the security and ethical challenges become, well, they're monumental. Think about it. We worry about our bank accounts or our emails getting hacked, but in this future, the stakes are infinitely higher. A hacker or a virus wouldn't just crash your computer. They could literally hijack your consciousness. They wouldn't just steal your data. They could alter your memories, your perceptions. They could hijack you. And the road to that nightmare? It's a really slippery slope. It would start with something like surveillance, corporations or governments being able to peek into your inner world. From there, it's not a huge leap to manipulation, where what you see and remember can be changed without you even knowing. And the final, terrifying step? Total control, where a government could squash a dissenting thought before it's even fully formed. This just forces us to confront some huge, and I mean huge, unanswered questions. Who becomes the guardian of your thoughts? Who safeguards your inner world? What's to stop a government from tracking every single stray idea? And forget about bad actors for a second. What would constant, infinite information do to our own mental health? It could trigger a whole new kind of arms race, a race for mental cybersecurity to protect the very last private space we have. And beyond just those individual risks, a universal implant would completely rewrite the rules of society itself. It would even change our own sense of self. It would create a completely new kind of human experience. I mean, think about it. We value genius and expertise because they're earned through hard work and years of effort. But what happens to the meaning of achievement when any skill, any piece of knowledge can be downloaded in an instant? Does the very idea of a genius just go away? This would completely flip our economy on its head. The old model, built on years of memorized knowledge, would be totally replaced by a new fluid workforce. A person's value would shift from what you know to how quickly you can adapt and learn new things. We might even see something like a cognitive gig economy, where people literally rent out their spare brain power for complex tasks. And of course, this leads to a brand new and probably the most profound form of inequality we've ever seen. You'd have the chipped, who would just soar ahead in every field, and then you'd have the unchipped, who could be left behind, creating a global divide way deeper than any digital divide we have today. And what about those who reject it for cultural or personal reasons? You could see a fundamental split in the human species itself. So ultimately, this all brings us to a massive choice, a real crossroads for humanity. It's that classic conflict, isn't it? The unstoppable drive for progress versus the deep essential need to preserve what makes us, well, what makes us human. If we're ever going to move forward with something this powerful, we can't just wing it. It's not just about building the tech. We would need a framework of incredibly strong regulations. We'd need clear ethical standards, global agreements on who owns our mental data, and right at the very heart of it all, you have to have the principle of individual autonomy, the absolute right to control your own mind. And that's really the core of the issue, isn't it? The real challenge isn't the engineering, it's philosophical. Can we actually integrate this kind of godlike power in a way that elevates us, that makes us better? Or will we accidentally erase all the beautiful, messy things, the struggle, the creativity, the mystery that truly define who we are? Which leaves the final question for you. After seeing both the dream and the nightmare, where do you fall? If this technology was real and available tomorrow, would you be the first one in line for the upgrade? Or would you fight to protect that final frontier, your own unchipped mind? It's a choice that might one day define us all.